Hello everybody, Mealworm here. So we are still in the test server today, and this video we're going to take a look at the new mining ships that have been added. We have a new Venture 4 as well as the Covetor 2, both for Tech 10. This is not going to be a video on how to mine or how to fit for mining. This is purely just going to be a comparison between the ships, and you'll be able to make your own assumptions on if it's worth it, if these are good changes. Basically, just here to lay it all out for you. Actually, I have the Procurer here first, but what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the Ventures first. Now, the mining ships are coded in, so you can find them under the ore faction. I've already loaded up the Venture 3 for Tech 6 and the Venture 4 for Tech 10 here in the comparison tool. Out of the gate, you'll probably notice one of the biggest changes here is the drones, highs, mids, and lows are exactly the same between them, but the notable change is going to be the rig slots. Instead of 2 per type on the Venture 3, we're going to have 3 per type on the Venture 4. This means you can fit an extra rig, probably a circulation. You could try an efficiency. I actually have not had the time to test those, but for this purpose, I've fitted all the ships exactly the same. But before we get into that, let's go through the rest of the stats here. Roll bonus, 2 warp stability, same across them both. The mining bonus and the level bonuses here did get a small change on both sides, moving from the basic mining and basic industrial command, moved both to advanced. For the mining bonus, instead of a 20% yield, you're getting a 30% yield, so that's going to be a net 50% increase if you do have at least 5.5 in mining. And even without the extra rig there, you're going to be pulling a lot more out of the rocks here. Now, the drone and the scan resolution bonuses are exactly the same here. Moving through to defenses, you'll see that the Venture 4 is a fair bit tankier, about 50% tankier. Now, it doesn't add any extra resistances to anything, it just adds extra flat amounts to the shield, armor, and structure. And the Venture ships do prioritize shields over everything else. Aside from that, there's really not a lot of changes here in terms of velocity, speed, power grid, output, or cargo. But other big change here is the ore hold. The Venture 3, as we all know and love, is the 9,000 meters cubed, but the Venture 4 is at a whopping 30,000 meters cubed. This puts the Venture 4 in an interesting place where it can be a lot more viable to go out further to your mining zones, whether it's less populated or more safe, or there's a higher level belt nearby. Maybe you're in low sec right on the edge of null. You can go in there and fill up basically a retriever load worth right here in your Venture. So this puts it at a really fun place. Part of me wished that they would have added the Prospect from EVE Online, which is a Venture ship that can fit a covert ops cloak, meant to go deep out there. You can mine in red territory if you really wanted. Good fun, but this Venture 4 is going to put itself in a really interesting place. Now, it's going to be much, much more expensive to build. It's going to be in line with the Tech 10 ships. So whether or not that feels that it's worth it to you to fly one of these around, it's definitely going to be up to you and what you can afford and what you feel safe flying around. So now, as far as a breakdown, I went out and I did some mining in these, both in the test server. I have fitted them exactly the same way. So you'll see, let's open up the Venture 4, go to set active. I have not fitted any mids or lows or drones, basically just did bare minimum for this test here. We have ion miners on all of the high slots, and then for the rigs, circulation 3s on all of them. The Venture 3 is the only difference is there's 2 circulation 3s instead of 3. But in some mining trips out here, I've gone ahead and pulled this. So, like we said before, the high, mids, lows, and drones are all exactly the same, but those extra rigs on the Venture 4, they ended up quite a bit nicer. So the hold, that was the other big change here from 9,000 to 30,000. Very, very nice. And then the percent mining bonus per level is notated here. These next ones here are what I've collected here in my testing. This is how many meters cubed per cycle I managed to pull out of the belt here. So the Venture 3 pulled 610 and the Venture 4 pulled 775, meaning it's going to take 15 cycles to fill the Venture 3 and 39 to fill the Venture 4. This number here is basically just how much more per pull it's going to get each cycle in terms of actual space, meters cubed. So it's going to mine 21% more, and that is not counting the faster cycle times with that extra circulation rig. This number could change depending on your mining skills, where you're mining, what you're mining, as well as what rigs you have, if you have an efficiency on there, or if you don't have tier 3 circulations, because there are those stacking penalties. But all in all, this looks like a very comparable ship. Really nice if you just want one ship and there's specific ores you want to go out there, get all that crocite or spodumene. Fantastic to go and do that. And if you really wanted to stay out there long enough, you can bring back 30,000 meters cubed of it. So that was the Venture 4. I don't know if the devs just haven't added a texture or if it's just going to look like it's got primer paint on it this whole time. I guess we'll have to see. But the model itself is exactly the same as all of the other Ventures. So moving past the frigates, we now have the new Tier 10 Covetor II. Again, this is already in the ship tree, so we're going to use the tool here. I'm actually going to load up the Procurer as well as kind of a real life comparison, since no one's able to actually fly the main Covetors around. This will give you a good base on what to expect. So moving from the Procurer to the Covetor, only major change is you get an extra high slot for an extra strip miner. The strip mining bonus is technically a little bit less at 10%, but with an extra strip miner there available, you are actually still pulling more out of the belt. The bonus to range is always nice. You don't have to tuck in too far away, or you can get further from the beacon in your zones, but it's not going to affect how much you're actually mining unless you manage to clear out everything within your area on the belt. The drone EHP has a slightly bigger buff now as well. This could be helpful, essentially, just to get the, to keep those rats away if someone's dropping in on your belt. Instead of getting extra shield on the Procurer, the Covetor is actually getting drone velocity. That makes them just a little bit more deadly. Not that they have any drone skills as it stands, but that is in there. For basic info here, this is the changes. I mean, everyone's already been able to see the Covetor. It's been coded into live for a while, so I'm just going to skim through these really, really quick. Got an extra 2,000 overall defense. It doesn't change any of the actual resistances, just again adds more armor, shield, and structure to it. The flight velocity and the warp speed, power grid capacitors, and cargo hold are all almost practically the same. One of the big changes, though, is that extra 12,000 meters cubed between the Procurer and the Covetor. So, obviously, the Covetor is going to be much better. That is the T10 versus the T9 Procurer. But to move through the Covetor to the Covetor II, we can take a look here. The slots are exactly the same across it. The roll bonus is exactly the same across it. What we do have a change here is in the advanced strip mining bonus, going from 10% yield to 15% yield, and 5% range to 10% range. That just means you're going to pull out more, and you're going to pull it out from further away. Advanced industrial ship is exactly the same here. Drone EHP and drone velocity, same across the board. Basic info, there are some changes here. This is really what, aside from the mining skill bonus, is what separates the Covetor II from the basic Covetor. Again, we're getting almost 2,000 EHP of defense brought in. It is a little bit faster, a little bit better power grid capacitors and cargo hold, but that ore hold capacity, again, this is what brings up, this is an extra 16,000 meters cubed of ore hold space, just meaning you'll be able to fill that up faster, and as such, you have more space on that. Um, the strip miner ships, I went out and did some mining tests as well in them, and as before, they're all fitted practically exactly the same. So if we go to set active, I'll just go ahead and show you guys. The faction strip miners have actually been seeded into this, which means they might actually see the light of day in the live server, which would be fantastic. But I put ion strip miners across all the highs, and then circulation 3s on all of the rigs for all of the strip miner ships. So with that little bit of a mining expedition, here is what I went and pulled out. So like we said, the slots between the Covetor and Covetor II, exactly the same. The real changes here is how much, these are sorted out wrong, but the mining holds themselves are, oh, I see what I did there. I flipped these around. Anyways, the mining holds themselves are bigger on the Covetor II. And with the extra bonus, oh, these got flipped. That's what it was. And that, anyways, with the extra bonus itself, let's just fix that. There we go. And with the bonus itself, it is going to pull more out of the belt at once. So the number of cycles to fill, you'll see these are almost exactly even across the whole board. Now, the cycles to fill are going to change based, if you have efficiencies, or if you are in a better zone, or if your belt is getting depleted. Obviously that will change. This was basically pristine. We're on the test, so there's no one else. I'm not fighting anyone for these belts here. So as far as increases in how much you're pulling per cycle, that's down here. So the Covetor gets 21% more than the Procurer, and the Covetor 2 gets 14% more than the Covetor 1. And then this one here, Covetor 2 gets 33% more than the Procurer. So these are big bonuses. Even just from the Procurer to the Covetor is going to increase your mining yield exponentially as we get closer to T10, especially with these ships. If you saw my video on the capital freighters, you'll know these take an immense amount of materials, and this is just going to help you pull them out of those belts and clusters a little bit faster. As far as the Covetor 2, is it worth it? Is it not? Does it feel kind of like a dead edition? That will have to come down to personal preference. People that do a lot of mining get that return on investment a lot quicker. I have not yet gone through and seen how much it's going to cost to manufacture these ships. So take that as you may, and we'll basically just have to see how this evolves. But as it stands right now, the Covetor 2 looks like a fantastic ship, and I'm excited to get out there and just absolutely rip these belts apart. That's basically it for the general comparison between all of these ships here. I'll be doing some more testing here on the live server, lots more videos coming out. So if you want to see something specific, please let me know. My Discord will be in the description, and I will see you all in space.